Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Misty and the channel's name is of course Speculative Magpie, and we are here to do a book review. The book's title is The Crusafiction Experiment by Gord Rollo. So you know how this works, guys. Let's read the synopsis and then we'll come back and talk about it, okay? So here we go. Jake Mercer's life is spiraling out of control. As a criminal profiler and one of the senior homicide investigators in Oakland Police Department, he has spent the last 25 years getting into the heads of killers, trying to understand the way they think. He's the best at what he does, but constantly playing in the minds of madmen carry a heavy price. Leaving Jake an out-of-shape alcoholic loner suspended from active duty. The murders have started. Another serial killer is prowling the streets now, a lunatic who is making a game of nailing retired Catholic priests to trees and bridges and hydro poles around the city. Torture and murder isn't enough. They're experimenting with the bodies to further whatever diabolical plan only they seem to know. The experiments have begun. Broken down or not, Lieutenant Mercer might be the only man who can catch this killer before the city starts to panic. Back on duty and trying his best to stay out of the bottle, Jake finds himself teamed up with two rookie detectives in what will be his most difficult case ever, and possibly his last. Alright, so I was prowling around on Goodreads and this book popped up in my suggested reads, and it was a new Gord Rollo, and I immediately bought it. I read this back in like the first part of June, and I didn't really read too much into it. I just saw it, new Gord Rollo, I bought it and started reading it. Now, reading this book, I was like, this isn't a horror story. This is a detective thriller. What's going on? So I finished it, and I went back just to see what the author had to say about it, and surprise, surprise, he wrote a detective thriller. Surprise to me, you know, but this book I really enjoyed. I actually like detective thrillers. I just was expecting a horror book from Gord Rollo, but what I got was a page-turner thriller, detective thriller from him instead, which I thought was awesome. The main character, Jake Mercer, he is one of, his characterization is one of my favorite detective thriller tropes. He's the alcoholic profiler that can get into the mind of these killers, and it fucks him up. And he is a high functioning alcoholic. He needs the alcohol to get through his day, and it's very obvious. Jake is on restrictive duty because he is not the best at playing office politics. Pretty much everybody puts up with him because he is good at what he does. And when they find the first priest nailed to a pole, they're like, oh, we need to get him back on active duty. But we need to corral him too. And so they give him two rookie detectives that he is basically having to train to do what he does. And I love their dynamic. These two rookie detectives are like, that's not how this is supposed to work. But they have to follow him because Jake is obviously good at what he does. And having this alcoholic detective who is basically a genius at what he does kind of weave his way through what's going on was just so good. And the fact that Jake is good at what he does, he can pick out and find these clues that other people might not have missed because they can't do what he does. And having these detectives trying to learn to do what he does is just so good. And you can definitely tell the aspects of the horror writer coming out of him, out of Gord Rollo as he's writing this, because the scenes with the serial killers and the discovering of the bodies, it was horrific. I know, haha, funny me. But Gord Rollo did a really good job of pulling that back. Like, he could have gone into a supernatural, horror writer way of describing everything, but like, he just tipped that edge. It was just right there at that extra something that most horror writers have when they're describing scenes like this. But he kept it like kind of like railed in, so you were more focused on the detective thriller part of it than the actual horror part of it, which I thought was fantastic. And like most readers who read these kind of books, we kind of like try to figure out who the killer is. No spoilers, the killer was not who I was, kind of pegging it to be. Thank goodness, because I was getting kind of pissed. I was like, if this serial killer turns out to be who I think it is, I am so done. I am just done. I don't know. But I was like, phew, okay, good. They're still safe. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's really good writing. I love Jake. Every time Jake won, against the bureaucracy or the serial killer or anything, I just felt vindicated. Like, I knew he was a good guy. Yeah, he's an alcoholic and he's kind of an asshole, but he's still awesome. So I thought that was really, really good, really cool about it. I don't know if the author's going to write more in this series. I kind of hope he does, because I want to see more about Jake Mercer. Because I just really like the character. Like I said, he pushes all of my detective thriller buttons. So, yeah, definitely 4 out of 5. Worth picking up. 1, if you like Gord Rollo. 2, if you like detective thrillers. I happen to like both. So, there we go. That's my review for the Crusafiction experiments. And thank you for coming back so we can talk about some books and things. Y'all have a nice day. Bye.